Looking at the game that went down at Lincoln City, personally, when I saw the selection Enzo Maresca put up, I expected that Chelsea should have run through Lincoln City to actually help the team to gain their confidence coming back into the Premier League this weekend. But then, Chelsea struggled. It was from one mistake to another mistake. In fact, it's now beginning to be from Brentford mistake to Bayern Munich mistake to Manchester United mistake and now to Lincoln City mistake. The selection Enzo Maresca actually put up in that encounter was good enough to take on a Premier League team, let alone playing a League One side in Lincoln City. But it was a terrible first half for Chelsea. Lincoln were all over the place against Chelsea, and they capitalized on that and actually got the goal first. So Lincoln went ahead. In fact, Jorgensen, who was in between the stick for his first start of the season, was a mess. And Jorgensen was beginning to give us reasons to actually miss Robert Sanchez, which a lot of us have actually been complaining about. Jorgensen was terrible. And Enzo Maresca actually came out in defense of Jorgensen. And what did Enzo Maresca say? Maresca on Jorgensen is Philip's first game of the season, so it's not easy. That was the defense Enzo Maresca actually put up for Jorgensen. That it is his first game of the season, and that means, and therefore it was not easy for the player. That is not the kind of thing Enzo Maresca should have said. Jorgensen is not just having his debut for Chelsea. Jorgensen has been with us since last season. So he should be confident going into the game against Lincoln City, a League One side. So the first half of that particular game was actually terrible. It was terrible. And Enzo Maresca, prior to the game, has actually given the players the tactical information they need to know. That going into this particular encounter, we knew what we were expecting. That was Enzo Maresca talking. Enzo Maresca said, we knew what to expect. Long throw, free kicks. I spoke to them to find out how many of them played this kind of game. The desire is double from them, from duels and this kind of things. Second half were much better and we won the game. It was a very terrible first half. And in his pet talk with the players at halftime, Enzo Maresca was asked, were you angry talking to the players? He said he was very angry. And they went on to ask him, how angry were you? He said, absolutely. Invariably, he was meaning to say he was very angry with the performance of the team in the first half. Because personally, when I saw the selection Enzo Maresca put up, in goal was Philip Jorgensen, the fullback was Malo Gusto and Jorel Ato, while the centre-backs was Wesley Fofana and Trevor Chalobah. The two-seated midfielder was Enzo Fernandez, that actually captained the team into the game, and Andre Santos. The three attacking midfielder was Garnacho, Facundo Bonanote, and the right wing was Jimmy Gittins, and up front was Tariq George. Maguire was not able to play the game due to the rule that he has already played for Sunderland in the previous round of the competition. But the rule was changed, and Enzo Maresca said he was aware of the rules, but Maguire actually have a knock because we're expected to see Maguire start this particular game. So Enzo Maresca talked to the players, and at halftime, the player came into the pitch with a much improved performance, and Chelsea went on to defeat Lincoln City 2-1. And Malo Gusto actually confirmed what the manager was saying. Malo Gusto said Chelsea played like kids in the first half against Lincoln. Of course, in the first half, we played like kids. They bullied us in every part of the pitch. It was really bad for us. That is coming from Malo Gusto, because he was part of the team that actually played Lincoln. And invariably, Lincoln was actually forcing Chelsea to play to their pattern, and which Chelsea they actually fell for it in the first half. And when the manager spoke to them, how many of you have actually played this kind of game? You know, it's not possible to face them physically. So while Lincoln City were coming physical, use your brain and be tactical. That is just how you need to actually overcome the physical game that Lincoln City was playing. And like the manager said, in the second half, we were better. And Chelsea actually came from behind to defeat Lincoln City by 2-1. Goals from Tariq George and Facundo Bonanote was enough to give Chelsea the next round of the competition. And Chelsea have known their opponent in the fourth round of the competition. Chelsea have been handed an away trip to Wolverhampton Wanderers in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup. So, in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup, Chelsea will be taking on Wolverhampton Wanderers away at the Millennium Stadium. And talking about Wolverhampton Wanderers, they are yet to win a single game in the Premier League, but they defeated Everton in round 3 of the Carabao Cup to book a place in the 4th round. And Chelsea have been handed Wolverhampton Wanderers in the round 4 of the Carabao Cup. So this is the full list of the round 4 draws in the Carabao Cup. Arsenal will host Brighton at the Emirates Stadium. Grimsby Town versus Brentford. Swansea versus Manchester City. Newcastle versus Tottenham. Wrexham versus Cardiff. Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Wolves versus Chelsea. And Wycombe versus Fulham. So that's the full list of the 4th round of the Carabao Cup draws that took place last night. So Chelsea, we've known our fate in the 4th round, going away to take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Okay, let's switch over to one man. Talking about the Chelsea star man, talking about Cole Palmer. There have been an unconfirmed report that Cole Palmer will be out for 6 to 8 weeks. But Chelsea have come out to debunk that. And yes, the latest coming from Chelsea. And this is from Kieran Gill. There is currently no update on Cole Palmer. Surgery for his groin injury is considered a last resort, with Chelsea hoping the issue can be managed without an operation. Currently, there is no information concerning Cole Palmer's injury worries. But the report have it that surgery will be a last option because currently as it stands, the situation with Cole Palmer concerning his groin can be managed. And here's the thing. This is the same thing that actually was reported about Liam Delap when he sustained that hamstring injury. One would have thought that Liam Delap would have gone under the knife in order to hasten up the recovery process. But it was reported that Liam Delap will not go under the knife after a second scan was actually performed on him. And so, it was reported that Liam Delap will be out for 10 to 12 weeks from the day he actually sustained that injury. That was in the match against Fulham. So, Liam Delap currently is undergoing through recovery stage without going under the knife. And the same situation they are looking here regarding Cole Palmer. And we hope to see Cole Palmer comes back much better. But with all of the happenings and the performances Chelsea have had so far this season are not being convincing of how we are actually playing and what has been happening with our games. There is a report from IndyCar News. Check this out. Exclusive. According to Chelsea football sources, Cole Palmer unsatisfied with his tactical role for Chelsea. Certain players find Enzo Maresca arrogant. Chelsea owners are aware of concerns from the players, and Andoni Iraola has big admirer at Chelsea Football Club. Personally, looking at this report from this IndyCar saying that Cole Palmer unsatisfied with his tactical role for Chelsea, I don't believe that news. I don't take it to be true because currently the role Cole Palmer is currently playing at Chelsea has been what he has been longing for. To have that liberty to roam the pitch and distribute play and also try to see how he can help Chelsea unlock the defense line. So this report, personally, in my opinion, I don't believe that Cole Palmer is unsatisfied with the role he's actually playing. And also the report went on to say certain players find Enzo Maresca arrogant. Well, to some extent, it might be true because definitely this is not only a Chelsea thing. Even most Arsenal fans will always say that Mikel Arteta is so arrogant. He feels well, it's about an individual thing. But so far, the way Enzo Maresca is handling the team, definitely Enzo Maresca is in order. And currently, there's no room for panic at this point in time. And the report went on to say Chelsea owners are aware of concerns from the player. What sort of concern? What sort of concern? So far, I don't think there is this crisis or there is a problem at Chelsea Football Club that warrants this kind of report coming out. But I want to believe it's not true. But if there is anything to take out of this, was just the last statement from that report that Andoni Iraola has a big admirer for Chelsea. Anybody can admire anything. He is a very good manager currently at Bournemouth, playing good football. And one thing is the same thing with players. A player who finds himself playing at Swansea City today, his dream might be to play at Real Madrid someday in the future. The same goes to managers. If you see yourself managing in a mid-table club or in a bottom or a team that lies in the bottom of a league, The dream of every manager is to be at the center of football, coaching some of the big clubs in European football and in the world at large. So, I want to believe that this report, in my opinion, is not what it is. It doesn't actually reflect the stand in Chelsea currently. So let's move on to Strasbourg and take a look at the latest of what is coming from Mike Pender. Here's the report concerning Mike Pender. Chelsea are pleased with the progress being made by Mike Pender, the 20-year-old on loan at their sister club, Strasbourg. The report went on to say, Chelsea are pleased with the progress being made by Mike Pender. Absolutely. Mike Pender has been one goalkeeper that Chelsea is holding on to be the future of the club. Currently is on loan at Strasbourg and is doing excellently well. Strasbourg over the weekend, he was in between the stakes and helping the team. And Strasbourg went away to defeat Paris by 3-2. And it was a very good win for Strasbourg. So Mike Pender, report having that Mike Pender is currently doing well in the club. And Chelsea is pleased with his development. And talking about Mike Pender, that's the goalkeeping department Chelsea is currently faced with serious challenges. And in my opinion, the mistake Chelsea have actually made in the summer was actually allowing Petrovic to leave the club. Not keeping Petrovic was a very huge mistake. And also, currently, putting out Mike Pender on loan. One might argue that, okay, he's just 20-year-old, he's developing. We look at it, 20 years old, playing in Ligue 1, in the top league in French football. But in the EPL, we look at 20-year-old that he cannot be in between the stakes. Let's stop kidding this. Let's stop kidding. If Mike Pender is given that confidence and given the opportunity to be in between the stakes, believe me, Mike Pender will do very well. Currently, he has the confidence. But let's just be hopeful that next season, Mike Pender will definitely be in Chelsea Football Club. So, it's good to hear that our player on loan is definitely doing well at Strasbourg. And it's not only Mike Pender that is in Strasbourg. We have Kendrick Pies there. And we also have Emmanuel Emega that Chelsea have actually signed, which reports have it that he should be in Chelsea next summer. But currently, the atmosphere with some of the fans, talking about Strasbourg's fans, is not actually making life easy for Emmanuel Emega. Despite scoring what was the winner against Paris in their weekend game against Paris, some quarter of the fans were celebrating, while some were not actually happy. Mike Pender, Emmanuel Emega scored in that game, and also Kendrick Pies also scored in that game. So it's good to know that Chelsea players in Strasbourg are currently doing very well. So, talking about players, and also with the current issues Chelsea is having at the defense, because Chelsea's problem this season has been with the defense, the defenders. And here's the latest coming in. Chelsea have plans in place for Ismail Doucouré, with Bluco rejecting a number of Premier League approaches in the summer. The French under-21 star agreed a new deal in the summer after his pathway to Stamford Bridge was mapped out. Football understand Chelsea have plans in place for Ismail Doucouré, with Bluco rejecting a number of Premier League approaches in the summer. The French under-21 star agreed a new deal in the summer after this pathway to Stamford Bridge was mapped out. That is also coming from Grimes Berlin. What Chelsea currently need in the defense line, or what we currently need in our defense line now, is an experienced defender that can immediately come into the teams and also bring in leadership to that defense line. Because since Levi Colwill sustained the ACL injury, Chelsea backline have actually lacked that leadership in the centre back. Ismail Doucouré, not a bad defender, but is still developing. It's 20 years of age. Currently, at Strasbourg, he pairs with Mamadou Sarr. And Mamadou Sarr is one player that Chelsea actually bought from Strasbourg during the summer and still loaned back to Strasbourg. And currently, Chelsea are thinking of bringing in Doucouré into the club. Now, let's look at what our priority is. We need defenders, established defenders. If you want to go for Doucouré, then why not bring back or call back Mamadou Sarr from loan, or also call back Anselmino from Borussia Dortmund if you are looking for young defenders? Because we have these defenders all over the place. We have these young defenders all over the place. So you can definitely bring back Mamadou Sarr and also bring back Anselmino from Borussia Dortmund. Let them come and complement what we have there at the back line. Currently, we don't need young defenders. What we need right now at the heart of our defense is an established defender. If we can go for one, it will definitely be good. Maguire in Crystal Palace is there. We can go for him. We can go for Maguire in January, if that will be possible. So we don't need, with all due respect, to talk Ismail Dakore. It's a very young defender coming up, but it's not the kind of defenders Chelsea currently need in the club. And the report went on to say Strasbourg centre-back Ismail Dakore could join Chelsea next summer. So we wait to see how this is going to play out. Okay, still in Chelsea and in the transfer market. Check this from Chelsea Transfer. It is understood Chelsea made sure to leave cash in their reserve this summer so they can spend in January if they decide an area of the team need bolstering. The report went on to say it is understood Chelsea made sure to leave cash in their reserve this summer so they can spend in January if they decide an area of the team need bolstering. Definitely, it's very clear. Two area in the team definitely needs improvement. The goalkeeping department and the centre backs are the two major problems Chelsea is facing this season, and those departments need to be fixed. And like I said earlier, the centre back is not about Ismail Dakore. Ismail Dakore, with all due respect to the player, will not be the solution to Chelsea centre back. He's a young lad that is still developing. Except if you bring him and give him that place immediately to start playing, not bringing him to keep him on the bench again as backup or as what? Because the same thing was said when we signed Jorel Atu, that he can also play as a left centre back. But now Jorel Atu have been subject to just being a backup to Marc Cucurella. So what Chelsea is definitely looking for is not a young lad that is still developing. All of these players in the future will be great, but currently we are looking at immediate solution to our defense problem. And so that cash Chelsea actually kept for January, I just hope we are going to spend it wisely in order to get the much needed players that will be useful for the team. Not getting players in January that by summer they will no longer be part of the manager's plan. No, let's go for what we actually want in January, and which are what? If we can get a goalkeeper and also a defender, that will be good. And talking about goalkeeper, we're going to look at one goalkeeper that have been in Chelsea radar. But with this cash Chelsea are claiming to have kept for January, here is what Sam have to respond to that. Hard to believe this. They cannot spend because of UEFA restriction. Otherwise, they would have already spent in the summer for a centre back. The report said it's hard to believe that we have that cash that we couldn't spend in the summer, probably because of UEFA restriction. But it's surprised to hear that we have cash available to spend in January. We have cash and we didn't sign Xavi Simons. We have cash and we make effort to sign Fermin Lopez from Barcelona. What is going on? Okay, we'll wait to see how this will play out in the January transfer. And having said that, talking about the cash available to spend, because we hope to spend the cash wisely. Take a look at this from Grime Belly. Manchester United already have plans in place for new number one in 2026. They like Mike Maignan, but the belief is close to joining another Premier League club. Mike Maignan, by January, will be a free agent at AC Milan, and currently is yet to sign any deal. If Chelsea can get Mike Maignan on a free, absolutely, that will be perfect. That will be a very good deal, because currently Chelsea are eyeing Mike Pender to be the future of the club when it comes to goalkeeping department. So getting Mike Maignan on a free will definitely be a good deal for Chelsea. And by the way, Chelsea actually went for him early in the summer, and it was just €2 million difference that made Chelsea not to sign the French number one goalkeeper. So moving forward, we'll see how that will definitely play out. Okay, check this report also that came in during the week after the Manchester United clash over the weekend. Chelsea had a large delegations in the director's box on Saturday. There was Egbali, Winstanley, Stewart, Joe Shield, Sam Jewell, Daniel Finkelstein. Among their travelling party was David Weir, less than 2 weeks after his surprise departure from Brighton as technical director. This is coming from Karen Gills. Chelsea have lots of delegates that actually travel to Old Trafford. in that game between Manchester United versus Chelsea. But noticeable among them all was David Weir, the former Brighton and Hove Albion sporting director. And it looks like Chelsea is going for everything Brighton. But let's see how this is going to play out in the near future. David Weir might just be another sporting director that Chelsea Football Club will acquire. So we'll see how that plays out in the coming days. After that game at Old Trafford, here's what happened. Chelsea have been slammed with a £25,000 fine by the FA for how they behave in their 2-1 loss at Old Trafford. Ref Peter Banks showed 6 yellow cards to the Blues in total, including to Maresca and a straight red to Sanchez. So invariably, Chelsea have been fined £25,000 for indiscipline, acquiring 6 yellow cards and a straight red card for Robert Sanchez. Now, to end with this, there is one player that have been under criticism since the season began. And we're talking about none other than Enzo Fernandez. But it is not actually what it seems, because there is a report here that has actually come out to back the Argentine international. Let's take a look at this report from Sam. This fan-based man, no context, no patience, just knee-jerk hot takes. You are telling me the midfielder who gave you 30 goals and assists last season, who literally leads all central midfields in the Premier League in chances created in 2025, and has the most goal and assists for us in 2025, is suddenly a flop signing because of 4 to 5 bad games? That's embarrassing. He has been flopped on top since he arrived. League, Cups, Hero, you name it. And somehow he is still expected to cover the most ground in a role that isn't even what we bought him for. But he adapted, carried us when Palmer disappointed for half a season, and was one of the biggest reasons we made top 4. But now, after a small dip, people are writing him off. When Palmer went missing for 6 months, everybody cycled the wagons to defend him. Where is that same energy for Enzo? Palmer has the freedom to play like a luxury 10. Enzo's chained to a tactical role that demands constant graft, and yet people can't see the difference. Let's be honest. If you are screaming, drop him permanently or sell him, you are not analyzing football. You are just chasing drama. Call for him to get some rest and sub appearances before he's ready again. Fine, but don't embarrass yourself with this clueless take. 100%, I quite agree with this report. Quite agree. We tend to forget it so fast and so easily that for 6 months, Cole Palmer was in the game but absent in the game at the same time. Cole Palmer have been missing for 6 months. No goals, no assists. But Enzo Fernandez carries the team on his shoulder and was very instrumental in Chelsea making top 4 last season. And it was key when we won the Conference League. And I think for everyone calling on Enzo Maresca to actually bench or sell Enzo Fernandez, it's not actually following football. It might just be fatigue, because come to think of it, even though it's not the only one, but Chelsea never actually had a good preseason, which I do say in my previous video, it's not an excuse. The season is up and running, and that is why we have a very big squad to actually act for managers to actually make selection and for players to be rotated. So I think the best option at this time, if you are calling for Enzo Fernandez to be rested and another player given the nod to start, and in games you are bringing him at halftime, that is a very good one. But calling for his head just after 4 to 5 matches in the Premier League, I mean, we are not being fair to Enzo. Personally, I've also said it that Enzo have been performing poorly and as such should be benched. And I didn't say Enzo Fernandez should be sold, because he's still a very good midfielder. He's an asset to Chelsea Football Club. Take it or leave it. Enzo Fernandez is a key when it comes to that Chelsea midfield, because what he does, he always ensures to maintain and keep the tempo of the game, while Moses Caicedo, on the other hand, does the dirty job and ensure that Chelsea are well defended. So I think I want to agree with this report that Enzo Fernandez is quite an asset to Chelsea Football Club, and as such, if the player needs rest, Enzo Maresca should look in that direction and give him that desired rest so that the player can be refreshed. What do you make of all this happening at Chelsea? And what do you make of the latest that I have brought before you? Drop your comment, drop your thoughts down below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you actually enjoyed the information that I have brought to you, please click the like button and give me a big thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching, and catch you in my next video.